Lixus, the golden apple, the eternal one, the throne of the setting sun. For so long this ancient city was forgotten and misunderstood, claimed to be the work of merchants and colonizing cultures. However, in this video, we will explore and see for the first time pictures of the Lixian megaliths, or at least what remained of them in Lixus. We will also delve into newly released information about the city and its true builders. Lixus, located in northern Morocco near the Atlantic coast, is considered one of the oldest cities in the western Mediterranean. Its history dates back to at least the 13th century BC. Lixus is located in Morocco, northeast of Laraich city, on the right bank of the Lucus River, 4 kilometers from the coast. Lixus was built on a hill of 80 meters above sea level and covers at least 70 hectares. It dominates the Atlantic shore and the valley formed by the Licus. According to ancient texts, Lixus' foundation dates back to the same period as that of the ancient city of Gades in Iberia, or Gader. Around the 13th century BC, these texts highlight its significance in antiquity, marking it as a prominent city in ancient times. However, much older sources attribute Lixus to a period where ancient Morocco was ruled by mythical kings, relating it to the Atlantean era. Lixus is deeply linked to the myth of Antaeus, the last Atlantean king, whom the Greeks considered a giant in their mythology. King Antaeus, son of Poseidon and Gaia, was said to have a royal palace in Lixus and was famously defeated by Hercules there. The city is also home to the mythical gardens of the Hesperides, associated with Hercules' 12 labors. Roman historian Pliny the Elder mentions Lixus as a site with an altar to Hercules and remnants of Antaeus' palace. Of course, Lixus was mentioned and revered by many ancient historians, but Pliny the Elder pays it the greatest of attention. Lixus, the capital of what the Greeks once considered Hesperia, was associated with the setting sun and evening twilight. Symbolizing the westernmost part of the world, according to Dr. Gerald S. Hawkins of the Smithsonian Astronomical Observatory, the city's lower megalithic walls were meticulously aligned with the sun. This alignment underscores Lixus' early name Makom Shames, or Tashamis, translating to the city of the sun. Highlighting its role in sun worship, the original megaliths and old walls of Lixus were oriented towards the sun, emphasizing its cultural and religious importance. This celestial alignment and the city's dedication to sun worship reveal a deep-rooted reverence for the sun, intertwining Lixus' architectural and spiritual heritage with solar phenomena. In this segment, we will investigate the much deeper element of the city, beginning with archaeological evidence. Recent excavations at Lixus have uncovered evidence of occupation and local constructions before the arrival of the Phoenicians. This challenges the traditional narrative of its foreign origins and supports the notion of a local native civilization. One of the key pieces of evidence supporting the local origins of Lixus, which we will discuss later on in the video, is the discovery of indigenous pottery. This pottery, characterized by its unique styles and techniques, was crafted locally and predates Phoenician influence. The remains of early domestic structures at Lixus as well further indicates a local origin of the city. These structures reflect architectural styles and building techniques consistent with indigenous practices, highlighting a self-sufficient community. The architectural styles were mostly ancient and rare in the Western Mediterranean. Rather, according to some experts, they were seen as polygonal in nature and mortarless. Most of the walls, ancient walls, pre-Phoenician structures, they had no mortar, but they certainly had a megalithic nature, and they were considered to be cyclopean in their architectural style. And as you see in the pictures, these are seen for the first time, of course, on YouTube. These are what remains of these ancient megalithic sites, of course. And as you can see, they are mortarless, as you see in the picture to the right. There is no mortar, but the blocks of stone are fitting, like they are fitting together without any mortar, and it's just like a jigsaw puzzle again, which is strange because the only places where we find these types of architectural styles are either Egypt or Southern America. As you see the picture on the left, we see similar megalithic structures that are not excavated yet, but you can clearly see the clear cuts and the hooves and everything. Here again, we see these large blocks of stone with a clear cut. This indicates that whoever was working in these sites knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't just normal cave dwellers. These were engineers. Again, in this picture, same thing. Clear cuts, holes. This one too. You can visit the site and like if you wander off, you will find these ancient megalithic structures. Now, coming back to the pottery part, it's nicknamed graffito. Now, graffito pottery found in Lixus, which shares similarities with ceramics from the southern Iberian Peninsula, suggests cultural exchanges with neighboring regions rather than colonization by distant foreigners. And another rare finding, of course, first time ever heard on or ever seen on YouTube. We have what we can call the Elixian metallurgy, evident by this rare sword. The bronze artifact here, discovered at Lixus, being the Balintober sword, part of other bronze artifacts that were discovered, such as this sword here, offer a significant insights into the region's metallurgical practices during the ancient Atlantic late Bronze Age, around 1300 to 1150 BC. While some experts like George Souville compared the sword to similar finds from the Ria de Huelva, it still aligns closely with the Balintober topology. Additionally, a flat bronze axe found in the Tetuan Museum, possibly originating from Lixus, further emphasizes the site's connection to ancient metallurgy. These metal objects are likely linked to the funerary megaliths surrounding Lixus, underscoring the site's importance in early metalworking traditions. Now, these were part of funerary practices. Now, as you can see, this is what part of the walls of I mentioned in the video, the megalithic wall that's like facing the sun. Funerary sites at Lixus reveals local customs and social hierarchies. These burial practices, distinct from Phoenician rituals, highlight the indigenous cultural framework that existed long before foreign influence and persisted long after. Now, Lixus is surrounded with these dolmens, these ancient funerary sites where ancient local rulers and princes and elites were buried. Now, going along that, we have agricultural evidence, because you can't have an ancient city or an ancient civilization without the existence of such a culture, a sedentary agricultural culture. Archaeobotanical evidence indicate that the inhabitants of Lixus practiced agriculture from as early as the Neolithic period. This contradicts the notion of a purely nomadic lifestyle and supports the existence of a settled agrarian society. Historical records also, along with archaeological findings, do suggest that the local population of Lixus resisted foreign domination, maintaining their own cultural and societal structures despite external influence. Of course, you can see an example here of one of the locals of Lixus. This leads naturally to a cultural continuity, evident by the artifacts and all the evidence found there, which demonstrates a consistent local development. This ongoing culture and evolution further supports the city's indigenous origins, showcasing a resilient local civilization that managed to survive and continue long after the arrival of the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, the Romans, the Vandals, all of these cultures that went back and forth in North Africa. They had little to no major influence on the city. In fact, the city continued to play a major role in the local political games and local cultural and religious efforts. Even during the Roman era, the city was home to one of the wealthiest, greatest elites in North Africa. Now, in summary, the evidence from pottery, domestic structures, agricultural practices, funerary sites, and the local population's resistance to foreign influence all point to the indigenous origins of Lixus. These findings collectively highlight the advanced nature of this local civilization. In conclusion, Lixus was a city built and ruled by its local inhabitants, demonstrating their resilience and ingenuity. The narrative of its foreign origins is not supported by the archaeological evidence. However, what the archaeological evidence shows is that the city managed to stay open to international influence, but did not let go of its local and domestic nature, which instead highlights a rich and complex indigenous history. Lixus' urbanization was a local domestic initiative, stemming from a local civilization with a sophisticated understanding of architecture, astronomy, and societal organization. And as we reach the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Future videos will be made to expand further on Lixus, the local Mauretanian architecture, and the Atlantean roots. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.